Hey there, e-bike fans. This is the next evolution or revolution or generation of batteries for e-bikes, and I think this is one thing you're going to want to watch all the way to the end, because this is some crazy stuff that just started to hit the market and it's now available in the US. But a battery like this, lighter, faster, bigger charge, everything that we wanted from a battery is now going to be available and is coming to market. And let's get started and talk about what's going on. All right, so what am I talking about exactly? Well, we all know that these batteries, like, they weigh a ton, right? And they have a limited capacity of how much we can put in there, and they're getting bigger all the time. And, you know, they take a long time to charge, mostly anywhere from 4 to 6 hours practically, sometimes even longer. And like, there's just so much that we wish that we could do better with the batteries. They cost like half the cost of most of the bikes now, and you know, we just want something better out of our batteries. Well, there's been technology that's been in development for quite a while. There's this thing called graphene. Now, most of you or many of you may have already heard about this technology. This graphene is actually made from graphite. So like our lead pencils, you know, we have these mechanical pencils. I couldn't believe I could actually still find one in the house, but it has these lead tips. Well, this graphite that's in the top, actually there is a way for scientists to go ahead and take a single layer of graphite, and it's an 1 atom thick. That's all it is. It's a sheet, and it looks like a honeycomb that comes out of it. And they can actually now extract it out of graphite, make this sheet, and it is super strong. So, and it's also multiple things. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at the screen that I have here. I'm using a new format, so let me know if you guys like this or not. You know, give this video a thumbs up or like it, or comment below. But I'm going to be using my Evernote on this one, so that I can kind of have all my notes together in one place and I explain, and you can read along with me while I'm going through. But the first e-bike to launch with a graphene lithium battery is now available for purchase. You can make a purchase. I'll show you later in the video where you can get one of these bikes, and you get it within 7 to 10 days. It's actually shipping from within the US warehouses out to people directly, drop shipping. Well, first graphene was discovered in 2004, so it's been quite a while. What, 17 years until we've now gotten to technology where it's in our batteries today. The recharge of a regular 5-hour lithium battery now can be recharged in about 2 hours. That's how fast. It cuts charge time in half. And reason being is that the graphene is so thick, and when it's actually incorporated with the lithium battery to replace like the copper that's in there, you have conductivity from graphene that is way better, because the atom can freely move within it. Now, I'm not a scientist, and I've only learned about this in the last like 5 hours today. I was so excited. I wasn't going to make a video about e-bike news, but because of what I started reading about this stuff, it's just mind-blowing. This is going to be what we wanted in batteries. Okay, so these batteries now will have a much higher capacity, because graphene is also very conductive, and it also holds charges better and stays cooler, and that's why it can actually charge faster. It's also stronger. In fact, when graphene was actually discovered and they figured they can layer it, they figured it's so strong and so light that it can actually be used in technology and stuff that they're thinking about for space. And I mean, it's the next generation of actual material. It's strong. It's like 10,000 times stronger than steel or something crazy like that. But don't quote me on that. I mean, like I said, I'm not an expert on graphene at all. It's just what I've been reading to figure out how am I going to explain this to you guys, because it's amazing. Okay, it's much stronger. It's super light. It's also very flexible because it's 1 atom thick. You know, I mean, you can now, when you layer it, you can also keep it to be flexible. It runs a lot cooler, and so it also can keep and also maintain a lot higher temperature rating as well. But better, just most of all, the conductivity of this thing is amazing. So even when you have capacitors made of this stuff, it can really hold on to it. So if you do a search on Google for like graphene and graphene batteries, you'll find a ton of talking about it. In fact, last year in 2020, there was a lot of talk about it. I mean, I guess it was actually getting to the point where people were anticipating it finally come out in batteries, because they've been talking about graphene batteries for a long time. Now, the batteries we're going to be talking about specifically right now that's going to become available is not just full graphene batteries. There are going to be those batteries which are going to be monstrously better. But right now what they're doing is incorporating graphene with the lithium technology that we have together. So that's why we're going to be able, it's like the next step first. you know, instead of going from all the way, because the cost is super expensive to still make, but when they go ahead and kind of blend it with other technologies, it brings the cost down a lot more and then still gets you the capabilities that you're looking for. So you can buy the same battery. I mean, this is going to be available. This same battery, this costs $500 for my Blackbird. It's an extra battery, right? You're going to get the same battery, but it's going to hold double the capacity. And it's going to be lighter. I mean, and it's going to charge super fast. I mean, it's like I said, everything. Our bikes are going to become lighter now, which means you'll get more range just because of the weight drop. I mean, it's just really crazy. So you're going to see stuff like this in Graphene Lithium technology, revolution e-bike batteries. This is in one article. The first prototypes that we're saying, now these are not marketed when this article came out, but it says it's 2.5 times better over, and the cost could drop as much as 40%. Okay, so we got that. And then we have another, you know, this is just a graphene battery without the lithium technology. But this is what they're saying, that just graphene alone in a battery by itself, without, you know, just without lithium mixture, just they're anticipating it's a 15-second charge on that. I mean, it's crazy what this technology is. I haven't heard of it before. And like I said, I know it's been around for a long time. Some people will say if you've been living under a rock, you won't know about this. But I'm kind of thinking nobody's really heard about it because it's not being used. And now that it's coming out and we are looking for alternatives especially with car technology. So I know probably a lot of you car buffs like Tesla enthusiasts and those things will probably already know about this. But now we're launching it into our e-bikes, okay? Higher capacity, faster charging, lightweight, like you see right here. You know, very flexible, high temperature range. And this is kind of like the structure. It's the honeycomb structure of just a single layer of graphene. And, you know, batteries that will charge 18 times faster. And these are just articles that are coming out, that were put out there. This is June 30th, 2021. So this is recently, right? The graphene aluminum ion. Now this is, again, aluminum mixed with graphene, 70 times faster than a regular lithium ion battery. So we're going to be seeing this also in our cell phone technologies, which is already, Samsung is already developing it for their cell phones so that charge time is like 15 minutes rather than hours and on their cell phones. It's crazy. So we know that Samsung is also going to incorporate with their e-bike batteries. That's going to be something sometime soon too. You know, another article on revolutionizing the whole industry. Could e-bikes get even more eco-friendly? That's another thing, is graphene is actually more eco-friendly. It doesn't make as much poisons to that planet for our Earth to be greener. So that's another thing that's really cool. So moving on from this, I mean, that's as much as I can pretty much tell you. It's just the battery of the future. But Zengbu, this Chinese company that's out there, is launching their bike now, and it is available in the United States. Again, I will tell you toward the end where you can get this from, because this was actually brought in attention to me from Amp Rides USA, from Josh. You know, I've done interviews with him. He actually had been a bike. The last bike that I actually did a review on had been coming from Amp Rides USA, and he's bringing in these bikes. So that's where you're getting it from. Okay, it is a 16-inch, I believe, bike. So these are people who are looking for an e-bike, but even the Lectric XP might be too large for them. A 20-inch fat tire bike might be too big. So they have bikes like the Jupiter that are out there that are competitors. Well, Zengbu came out with their own bike, and it has some crazy technology in it. Now, the ones that are actually sold, I guess, in China themselves actually have like different specs on there. But Josh is bringing in the ones that are actually the higher end. So let's go over some of the specs on this bike and why this battery is actually very cool that we're going to be seeing it. Now, his bike that he's going to bring is a 400 watt. And again, it's, I think, 16-inch. Let me go ahead and bring up some of my notes here. Yes, a 16-inch tire size. It's foldable right in this area here in the middle, and it only weighs about 42 pounds. Now, it also is going to have dual suspension, so you have the front suspension fork here. Like I said, in China they have different models for lower costs, but the premium bike actually has a suspension right in the back side here, and also the front fork has suspension here. The graphene battery here is a 10 amp hour battery, which is approximately the same size as what's in the Lectric XP and a lot of other batteries out there, but it only takes 2 hours to charge. Okay, it can also go some crazy mileage. Now, I'm going to show you some of the mileage that they're saying. I'm going to have to say that you got to take it with a grain of salt, because mileage is really going to be based on so many different factors, like the weight of the rider, the hills, and just so many different factors. The resistance that's going to be on your tires. But this can hold enough mileage to where what they claim can be almost up to 50 miles. But with the charge cycles, 2,500 sub-cycle charges on this one too, and it goes right into the frame. It's also a removable battery too. So if you're wanting to take it into the house to charge or into your workplace while you're doing it, this bike again is a compact, it's smaller. The ideal, I guess, target market that this was originally going to be going for is people who own boats. You know, if they're going to go to places where they want to put an extra vehicle in a vehicle, so RVers, that where the Lectric XP can be, even though it's a foldable bike, it can be quite large. You know, for this is really compact. It can fit in a trunk super easy of most standard type cars, like you know, Accords, Camrys, just sedan style family cars, right? So those are the ones that, or even probably even compact cars like your typical Civics or Corollas, any hatchback for sure. SUVs will be a piece of cake, but these bikes, like I said, are really, really small. Here's a rechargeable battery. You can actually take it out and you just fold it, slide it right out of the tube, and charge it up. And oh, by the way, the frame is made of magnesium alloy. That's what makes this bike also really light. You know, at I think the Lectric XPs run about 65 to 67 pounds, whereas this bike runs only at 42. It's 20 pounds lighter. Now, of course, it's a smaller bike, you know, and it does have a speed rating of up to about 25 miles an hour. Again, that until we've actually tested it, we don't know. This is just the claims from the factory right now. But, you know, we got to kind of take a look and see. It's going to have the capability to go quite far and quite fast. It's not going to be your 15-mile-an-hour bike. This is going to be an actual 20-mile-an-hour plus for sure. Okay, again, this is your comparative, even competitors in the same 16-inch tire size wheels. It's a really light bike. So they've really haven't held anything back. Now again, I don't know about this 44 pounds being, or the 42 pounds being with the upgraded fork and everything on there, but you know, nonetheless, it's still going to be pretty light. Okay, so front hydraulic fork suspension, 10 centimeters of travel in the front, and it's oil spring compression cushion. So it's not just spring. There's actually oil in it, so you're going to actually feel the difference of how much absorption this thing will take on that oil. And the tire, it's going to be a little later. I'm talking about the tire here. It's super strong tires as well. You can fold this bike in 3 seconds, and it's the design that's in there is just a knob you pull, and it just kind of swings. And it's a patented folding, which I think is also really cool too. It's going to also help because the bike is a lot lighter, that you're going to have this ability to fold it so quickly. You can see where the key will be put in to remove the battery. Super nice design as well. So there's even more to this bike that's actually really cool. Okay, you have your speedometer here, which is nice. It's not just, you know, a rinky-dink button without you not knowing how fast you're going. It does actually tell you. I don't know if you can switch it to miles per hour, but you know, this does have a display of real-time speed, your battery levels, your voltage. And let's go ahead and move down even further. So this is not supposed to be so much of a bike review, but it's talking about the batteries. But because this bike is the first one in the United States that has this graphene lithium battery, I just gotta say, I mean, it's pretty awesome that it's come out. Like I said, I'm super excited because I can see this being launched for all bikes now, and we're gonna get way more out of our bikes. So regenerative recovery, energy recovery, which means I don't know if it's coming off of the brake, but I do know that a lot of these type of regenerative brake systems, basically, if you have a battery that can charge way faster, that means you're actually going to get more efficiency in the regenerative recharging that's coming out of this. So you have this now ability to get longer range and recover energy too. And so, I mean, this is just all in all an amazing bike that's coming to it. And you know, it doesn't come with a crazy price. And I'll go a little lower into that. So here we go, 48 volt battery. Okay, and again, it's a 400 watt motor, 10 amp hours on it. It's a 5 hour per charge, so it holds up to 5 hours, which is typical with a lot of bikes about this size battery. But again, 2 hour recharge, and 25 to 31 miles in just electric mode. That means just throttle mode is what I'm guessing, because in your PAS, if you're actually helping the bike, 50 to 60 miles. Again, you gotta, this is, I don't know how they're doing this rating, because I know like in some countries, as long as you can keep on pedaling, they'll say that this is going to be as much assistance you're going to get. So I would, again, you can probably guess that you're going to get 25 to 31 miles pretty easily on that with pedal assist. And I'm not sure, depending on how much you weigh, your electric mode. But it does have a 330 weight capacity as well. So it's a pretty strong bike. 400 watts is the motor that comes in it. Again, 16. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, the tire. It actually comes with aluminum alloy tires. I don't know what that means, if there's a lining that's aluminum alloy or if that's the rim, but basically it's puncture proof or explosion proof. I don't know if that means flat proof at all either, but like it's a strong tire otherwise. I mean, so it's not going to be just something that's, again, they're not really holding back on putting this bike at a high end level. And it does come with mechanical brakes as well. So it's also made for smaller riders on this one here. This is the height. Now the seat height to the ground is 31 inches. At the minimum, from what I was kind of gauging at what this is saying. So they say some 5'4", but I saw a picture of somebody on this bike that was actually, I think, 5'2", and their feet were still touching the ground. So I'm not real sure about that either until we actually start to see this bike out. I think this is a mistake of 4'4" to 6 feet, because in the picture it says 5'4", but again, I'm not really sure because this is 6'4" and it says 6 feet here. Again, 330 pound capacity. So being that this bike is so brand new that we haven't really seen much of it, I'm going to say that you can probably fit a shorter rider for someone about 5 feet or so, because the seat can go pretty low from what I can tell here. And unless it stops, then again, you can always get another seat post, chop it, and go even lower if you need to. That's one of the benefits of having something that's made like this. You're going to have this kind of different ability to just get a straight post and get it smaller. I mean, so we have this ranges now. So like I said, until we actually know more about it, this is the comparative Jupiter bike that's out there. Again, it's kind of similar frame design, but when we look at the specs between what's out there with the Jupiter bike, that only comes with a 350 watt motor and a 36 volt battery. So something with a 48 volt and 400 watts, you're going to get a little more power out of this. The battery on the Jupiter is only 5.2 amp hours also. And it's lithium-ion versus a 10.4 graphene. So you're going to get way more range out of it. Now the Jupiter has been a very, very good selling bike. But when you start looking at the comparativeness between these two, you know, $800 for a Jupiter bike versus $950. And this includes shipping, I believe, as well. So, you know, you want to contact, if you are interested in this bike and you have any questions about it, you want to email sales@AmpRidesUSA. Again, this is Josh. He's the guy that I've done interviews on, and also had the limited volt 1500 folding bike that I just did a review on a couple weeks ago. Again, these are the different specs for it: front suspension, rear suspension, front light, tail light, rack, fenders, all included, kickstand. It has the really tough tires on it. Rims are mag rims. The seat height 31 inches, so that could be a 5'2" rider. Like again, it's possible you could cut the seat post on closer though. I don't know how comfortable you're with your pedaling, but the bike being this small, you're gonna have the ability to be a lot more flexible with it. As far as the I don't know about the maximum height though. That's something else that. But for me as a shorter rider, this is the kind of stuff that I look at. The bike weight is about 40 pounds. I think it's going to be a little more, 44. This could be a little, but you know, like I said, until we actually find one. 33 inches folded by 23 by 24, and unfolded 55 by 16. The standover height is 16 inches, which is really low. So that's really good too. You can get your leg over pretty, I mean, it's not going to be easy if you need it really low, but it's going to be easy enough. You should be able to get your foot through the front as well. This doesn't show the rack on it, but it does come, what he says here, it does come with a rack on the back side here. So that's pretty cool as well. 1 year AmpRides warranty. Charge time is only 2 hours for this 10.4 amp battery. Now this is new technology, and again, until he's actually tried it, this may change, but it's going to be much faster than 4 hours, especially if they're using graphene in it. Now this is graphene lithium, just so you know, because as you noticed above, I was trying to make sure that I'm not going to, a graphene battery versus a graphene lithium is actually two different types of batteries, because the graphene, there is going to be 100% graphene batteries in the future. I guarantee it, with the capabilities that's going to be available. I wouldn't doubt that Tesla would be one of the first companies to have them in their cells in their cars. Shipping time, get this. With what he has available, if you do order it, you're going to get it 7 to 10 days. And this is actually because they are doing drop shipping directly from the Zengbu company. Okay, this Zengbu actually has a warehouse in the United States. Josh is an authorized dealer for them, and they will ship it directly from their warehouse to you. So you'll get in this one of these bikes directly shipped out there. 7 to 10 days is what they're estimating it now. And just because of the way that trucking is going on right now in the US with a lack of truck drivers, I would give it an extra 4 days. So you might be looking up to 2 weeks, and this should be business days as well. So that would be about 2 weeks before you should be able to get it. He sent out an email blast to his customer base, and he's already sold, I think, over 2 dozen just from his email list. So keep in mind that these bikes, and I've tried to find if there's any other graphene lithium battery out there that are being sold in e-bikes, and it's not. From what I could find, if anybody has any information about where we can find some, please comment below, because that'll be really cool to find out. These are bikes that I'd love to go ahead and do more reviews on, to get information from people and feedback about what they're thinking about these bikes. And this is actually big news. I mean, I don't know, it really excited me, so I'm really excited. I mean, if it excited you, please, again, like below. Tell me what you think of this format, about using this Evernote as well. I'd love to hear your comments on that, because I'm trying to get more news out. Every day I read more news on e-bike stuff. It gets me all excited. I try to pick the best of the stuff and, of course, organize my thought. I spent about, 5 hours trying to understand what graphene technology was, since I'm new to it as well. And it's blowing my mind. That's why I got so excited. I decided I'm going to put this out there over doing a review of something else, because it's just so exciting and what's going on there. So anyway, again, don't forget to subscribe below. That really helps the channel out. Like, comment, and again, thank you guys so much for all the positive feedback I've been getting for these news briefs that are out there. I love to hear them, and I'm trying to, I'm still trying to go through and comment as much as possible back for most of them. I'm trying to read them all too. There's been growth of this channel has been fantastic. I really appreciate every single one of you. Hope you had a great weekend as well, and I will see you guys in the next video.